Okay, we're off by about a minute and a half now.
Oh, he must have had oxygen. These guys get passionate on their issue, and off they go, man.
I'll have to do some creative editing to make this fit in 30 minutes. Cut out a commercial or something. I would have let him keep going, but we got stuff to do.
Okay, so you're up next.
Yeah.
And then Warren's at 10:30. Nice to see you, sir.
There you go. It's nice to be here with an almost dry ass. I was out on the tractor seat this morning. My neighbor his driveway started to thaw and run into his garage. The garage is the same level as the driveway. So I had to move about 6 tons of ice and wet snow this morning with the tractor starting about 7:30. And
I went out to snow blow my driveway last night.
What'd you catch? A rock?
Slush.
Slush.
Slush. And then the slush gets compacted, and then you stand there for 5 minutes trying to free the chute.
Yeah.
And you hear the gears just grinding, and it's like, I ended up picking up a shovel, and I shoveled my way into back pain.
I put the tractor in fourth gear and got to run and start across this driveway and hit that thing with a bucket. I have a 50 horsepower diesel tractor.
Okay.
Hit that thing, and it was wet and soggy and then fluffy up top. It goes poof. And I went, like, oh man.
Yeah,
Each load, and some of it had frozen inside, and they put more fluffy snow on it. So I was getting pieces the size of this table, picking them up and then going across the driveway, finding a place to put them, so they don't come back on me. But my seat was wet. Oh, no time to dry that. And off we go.
I picked the wrong pair of dungarees and just was getting run out the door.
I think we're getting close.
Tied my shoes and went,
Hard to tell my timing's off.
oh, this is the same wet dungarees I had on
Yeah,
last
there
night.
you go.
You're listening to GrokTalk. Little Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas flood. Had a little flood yesterday driving to work in the morning. The snow is melting and it's puddling up in the roads. And of course, if you've never been here, we have lots of curvy, windy, little hilly roads. And when you have snow 5-6 feet high packed up on the sides of the roads and it starts to melt, it creates these little lakes that you get to drive through.
And
that's the best part, driving through the lakes.
well, they call it ponding on the roads.
Ponding on the roads.
Yes.
Yesterday we had a dog. We have a dog, 2 dogs. And one dog is about that high, Riley.
Yep.
Riley fell off the deck and into the snow and had to walk all the way around the house in that snow. It's like this deep, you know?
So you see this kind of deal,
Yeah, I
huh?
asked my wife, I said, what kind of animal walked around the house, come out of the woods and walked out around the house? She goes, that was Riley. He fell off the porch and didn't know where else to go and went around the way she would go in the summertime.
Yep, that's
Poor devil.
it fit my dog to a T. Kaya, a little small, 22-pound Manchester Terrier, and she jumped out and went, oh crap, this is up over my shoulder.
God.
And your nose up in the air saying, I can breathe, I can breathe.
I have big dogs, and I snow blow a path out to the woods so they can get out there to go. But they start venturing off, and it's like, they're stuck. Their legs, they're like, oh.
You have to climb snowbanks.
Well, we're not here to talk about dogs and snow. We're here to talk about vote fraud.
Oh, that kind of dogs, you know.
Dogs, dog into vote fraud.
dog-
But the Democrats are always trying to snow us about voter fraud. Here we go. Let's milk this one for
I'm gonna
all
let
we
you guys
can.
get started. I gotta exit the room for a second, but I'll be right back. Please proceed.
All right, I have given you guys a copy of something I made up yesterday. We all remember Elena Biden, don't we?
Oh yes.
Elena Biden.
Vice President Joe Biden's.
One of the saner ones, apparently, but she was here in 2010. Joe Biden, yeah.
One of the saner ones?
Saner nieces.
Oh, the niece.
One of them was just
Yeah, the other niece is a nut.
almost incarcerated. Hey, she had some control issues. So we have here Elena Biden voted from 145 Steinmetz Drive in Manchester, which I call a voter nest. So she was working, Elena was, at 228 Elm Street, I think. That's where the office for Barack Obama was in Manchester in 2012.
Right.
And I believe Elena Jacquet, J-A-Q, or Jacquois, Biden was working in that office with a bunch of other people, maybe 6 or 7 other people. And apparently she was staying with the Kalick family, Alan M., Daniel J., and Patricia G. on 145 Stevens Drive. But there was another name of an associated voter there, and it is Alexandra Isabel Perez Caballero.
Cool.
Yeah, and Alexandra Isabel Perez Caballero was staying at 145 Steinmetz Drive, and she voted by absentee ballot.
Wow.
And why would she be doing that?
If I'm looking at this data support specialist, Obama for America.
Well,
here's a number that I never knew. Nonprofit, 1,001 to 5,000 employees.
From Organizing for
5,000 employees.
Yeah, you'll see that consistently. And well, we're catching up here in New Hampshire. But if you look at that, Alexandra Perez Caballero was a data support specialist for Obama for America in 2012. So
2
that
months.
means she came here for 2 months to work for President Barack Obama's re-election. She stayed at 145 Steinmetz Drive, but she is actually a resident of, let's see, I got her real residence from her voter registration in South Carolina. She actually lives at 3 Pinecroft Court in Columbia, South Carolina, 29229. And she lives there with her, apparently it's her mother. Her mother's name is, well, I don't have it on mine, but her mother's owned that property. I looked it up on the property ownership records on the internet, and she's owned that house since 2001. So
Yeah.
I imagine that...
Nelita Caballero.
Yeah, Nelita, it's one of your newer ones I printed out this morning. So Alexandra Perez Caballero voted from the home of the Kalick home along with Elena Biden. She is listed as a Obama worker, and she's a data support specialist. And if you were to look up her LinkedIn page, you would find she's a busy girl. She fits the profile of an Obama supporter. Let me see. Get this out here. Now all of a sudden my thumbs are dry. She went to the University of Chicago, surprise, surprise, from 2006 to 2009, and she studied, political science, of all things.
Imagine that.
Surprise.
Well, then she gets out of college, and she speaks some Spanish. Surprise, surprise. She volunteered as a poll watcher for John Meadows for solicitor. It's a political position from May of 2010 to June of 2010. And then she went on to the neighborhood team leader volunteer for the South Carolina Democrat Party. That was from September 2010 till October 2010. She was there for 2 months. She was a field organizer in South Carolina for the Democrat Party. Then she was a lead sales associate for Payless Shoe Source. And then she was a data support specialist for Obama for America in Manchester, New Hampshire. It says right here, October 12, 2012 to November. So for 2 months, she was here in New Hampshire, and I guess she considers herself a resident or domiciled here, so she's allowed to vote. But she's still on the voter checklist. If you guys look on your front page, that's a copy of the state checklist. Okay, so these are all currently people that are registered to vote in the state of New Hampshire from 145 Steinmetz Drive. So unless Elena Biden has removed her name, she's still able to vote here. And she's a voter, I believe, in D.C., some other state. And
No, Elena's working for a public school in New York City.
New York City,
Right
yes, that's
now.
right. So she would be registered in New York City and able to vote there, and still able to vote absentee here, like Alexandra Isabel Caballero did.
Now,
Now, how could
She voted absentee in New Hampshire.
Yeah, when she was working here.
Right.
So you didn't have a chance to hang around till November
Kinda
6th.
kind of like our buddy from Arkansas.
Same deal. So this is why it's important when you have clean voter lists, because someone can be registered. We know people have been registered in 3 or 4 states, and they can pick and choose. As a citizen of New Hampshire who votes legally here, I have one choice. If there's a U.S. Senate seat up, I have one choice. I can't say, you know what, I'll just send my ballot to Virginia. I'd rather help out a friend of mine or somebody I like in Virginia, or I'll send a ballot to Michigan, or I'll vote in any of 3 states that I'm registered in, currently legally registered in. Well, how does the Constitution allow for some people to have special rights to vote? They have an option of voting for 2, maybe 3 people.
Must
and
be
other
that
people.
second Bill of Rights by FDR.
And there's nothing in the state of New Hampshire, there's no loophole. I've been looking for the loophole that allows people from out of state to vote here. And I hear it over and over again from people. There's a loophole that allows people to vote here, come in, vote here, and say, oh, I changed my mind, I live somewhere else. Alexandra didn't change her mind, and Elena Biden didn't change her mind. They came here with one thing in mind, that's getting Barack Obama elected. They both worked for Organizing for America. They both moved in with these people that provided them a place to stay for that purpose. This isn't a rental property. It's a single-family home. And stole our votes and took off our parts unknown.
Well, you know where the loophole is.
I wish loopholes in the Attorney General's office.
Bingo.
The hole is between two ears. Apparently,
You
there's
know
a
what?
big
Well,
hole.
it's beyond more than just
Yeah.
one pair of ears.
What this just occurred to me, and I think I may have made this point in the past, but I don't remember. The Democrats like to talk about us saying that these people can't vote here as like vote suppression, but how can you have vote suppression against somebody who can vote in 3 or 4 different states?
That suppresses the votes that live in those states.
That's true voter suppression.
That's real, absolute. I can name you. Anybody, you pick a name of a person who legally votes in New Hampshire, their vote was suppressed by these two people.
Well, they were, but
That's
I'm
a
just saying
fact.
how the Democrats like to talk about
Yeah.
how it's vote suppression, but yet you have people like Caitlin Legacki, who was registered in at least 3 or 4 states. Her vote wasn't suppressed if we didn't let her vote here. She could have voted in Missouri. She could have voted in North Carolina. She could have voted. I mean, she voted in Missouri, and somebody else voted for her here. But just as an example, we have all of these people who come here, and they're all registered to vote in another state.
Right.
And,
And our state doesn't clean up our voter checklist. So they willingly are helping these people suppress our votes. That's real voter suppression that I can put a name to. I've read in the Seacoast Online and Portsmouth Herald, there's a couple of guys out that way. One's David A. Potter, and I forget the other guy's name, but they're writing about the thousands of people who are disenfranchised by the new photo ID laws. So you have to ask these people, name one. If you know of thousands of people who are, they keep saying, qualified voters are disenfranchised by photo ID laws, or legal voters are disenfranchised. Well, and thousands of them all over the country, in the state of New Hampshire. In the state of New Hampshire on November 12th, November 6, 2012, 718,000 people voted in New Hampshire. 99,000 of those people registered on the same day. So we have no idea who they were till they walked in and provided identification. 14,000 of them didn't. So who was suppressed? We had 14,000 people walk into a polling place on election day with no photo ID, no driver's license, no nothing, and vote. How were they suppressed? They were actually encouraged to take someone else's vote, because we still don't know. Thousands of those people are being investigated by the
like
Attorney
4,000 or
General's.
5,000, they don't know.
Yeah. So
Or is it up to 7,000? They don't have any idea who they
I wouldn't
Well,
believe any
here's-
figures coming out of the office right now. I know how often I can't find people, so I'm having a little trouble believing they're going to find everybody.
Yeah. Well, see, they play by different rules. We tend to be, quote unquote, the real reality-based community because we know this inside information. We stay on top of it, especially with your auspices here, tracking down these numbers. 99,000 first day, 14,000 without photo ID. The normal voter in the state would have no idea what those numbers meant, even if you told them. You'd have to tell them several times, put it into context several different times. So it finally became ingrained. So people who claim that people are being disenfranchised can say it all the time that they want, and it's the big lie all over again. Say it enough times, people will believe you because they know, they depend on the low information voter not paying attention to stuff like this to know what the truth is. I mean, even the Attorney General knows this. Secretary of State
Bill
knows
Gardner
this.
knows.
All of these
Judge
people
Lewis
know that, and it appeared in the papers briefly, and that's the word to hang on. Briefly, in it comes, out it goes. There it went. And it's only because of people like you, Ed, who follow this, and some of us on the right, the bloggers, and Steve, you've been certainly a
Talk
big part
radio.
of this. Talk radio with especially Rich Gerard at large, and
I have
others
to
as
say,
well.
some of the Republican Party leadership that put together workshops for me to attend,
Yeah.
they're packed. I mean, there's just tons of people show up at those things. I got one coming up March 7th, I think, in New Boston.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Republican leadership.
Not the top leadership always,
That's
but
what
the
I
people
was gonna
who,
talk about.
you know, like the town committees.
The committee, yeah, the committee chairman.
The committee chairman,
city
I'll tell you, boy,
town
they're
chairman.
very,
Because-
they'll come on in, and they get me crowds, and they're very attentive. They wait till the end to ask questions, and
Yeah.
I send them copies of stuff. It's really encouraging to show up at one of these things and see the standing room only in the back.
Yeah, once again, we see something that's very important to the base. And the town chairs understand that, and they're inviting you in. But I'm talking about at the very top. Do you hear from the NHGOP e-board? Do you hear from the NHGOP chair saying, hey, we need to do something about this? Because I believe that they don't, because they're trying to protect people.
I'm never sought out to say, hey, show me what you got.
Yeah.
I'll
And
tell you what,
this should
that
be a
extends.
perfect thing. I mean, we've been putting this stuff out now for months, and you would think
Well,
that
I've been doing it for
here's
years.
well, right, but our involvement here at
Yep.
Granite Rock has been on the month kind of level.
Yep.
Here we've got a perfectly great club, because we started talking about that in the beginning of the show, to give to the NHGOP to say, by the way, take this and club them with this. And here's the proof's there. You've already done the hard
But it's
work.
everywhere. If I call the Republican Party in Missouri
Yeah.
for some help with Caitlin Legaki,
Yeah.
I won't get a call back. Virginia, well, you don't understand how hard it is. Florida's a tough one. Most of the states where you get help, it's from private groups, like Civitas in North Carolina, and individuals in other states are very helpful.
Yeah.
So like taxpayer groups, things like that. But Republican parties throughout the country, when you get to the top leadership, when you say voter fraud, look, I have evidence of voter fraud, they just can't get out of the room fast enough.
I mean, look at what James O'Keefe with Project Veritas just released again against Battleground Texas, a very, very progressive organization
Communists, that's
that
what they are.
right, and that is that they are violating the law, demonstrably violating the law intentionally to turn Texas blue by doing what the law specifically prohibits them to do as far as data mining the information from the people they're supposedly signing up to vote. And they're going to stuff that into the Obama for America's data machine, and they're going to use it against the Republicans. And you look at this now, to their credit, it looks like some of the high elected GOP officials like Greg Abbott and some of those type folks are trying to get this rolling to basically disenfranchise Battleground Texas for doing illegal activities.
Well, I can point another.
But why aren't the Republicans looking at this and going, let's hammer these people?
It must come naturally because it seems to be everywhere. When you find that Battleground Texas has used a position that allows them to see private information of potential voters, you wonder, oh, okay, well, why didn't anybody stop that? Then you think, oh, it's the same people, and like this one right here, this Alexander Perez Caballero. When you look at the hundreds of these that I've looked at, you see the pattern. They excel in high school, they get awards. Most of the time they get an opportunity to travel abroad at someone else's expense. They come back, they go to college, or about the same time they do the same thing, but it's almost uniform. They go out of the country for Peace Corps or something like that. They come back here, they get out of school for political science, and they go right to campaigning, and they really, other than stopping in a few locations, campaign after campaign after campaign. But let's just take this one I just found yesterday. Here is, she worked at Payless Shoes, and what was her job? Collected and entered customer information from dozens of transactions daily, trained new sales associates, but data collection. Every job they have is data collection. Now you're going to tell me that they go work for a nonprofit like Buy the Children in Belize Shoes, nonprofit. You're going to tell me they're not slipping a disc in and grabbing all the names and phone numbers to give to their friends at the Democrat Party, like the registration collectors were in Texas. They were collecting data they were not allowed to have. And what did they do with it? Right to the Democrat Party to build that giant database. The more you look at these people that work for Organizing for America, they're at the census.
Yep.
They're at nonprofits where they can get the list. They're at companies where they can get the list. I would never let any of these people near any of my business lists, because they're going to tap those and take them home with them. If you're going to come to New Hampshire and work here for Obama and claim you live here and then steal my vote with your absentee vote from South Carolina, You think I'd trust you around my lists of my company? So when somebody's going to hire somebody, one of these characters out of or for any nonprofit or business, take a look and see if they work for Organizing for America and whether or not they're data collection or data mining experts, because that's what I see over and over and over again. Once you find out how they work, remember you said 5,000 employees. What do you think those 5,000 people are doing?
Well, almost
Helping
every
the
single
cause.
every single one that you pass by us, they are either a GIS specialist, graphical information system, mapping
Yep.
and applying data for visualization,
Yep.
or data collection, or another type programmer. I mean, you're exactly right. You look at the vast data hacks that have been going on in a lot of our big commercial retailers. Who knows whether or not these folks have been part of it, or they just haven't been caught.
They have the skills. They have no morals. They've stolen my vote here. Every single last one of them we brought up has stolen our votes in New Hampshire. I would never hire them or trust them to do anything. They are who they are. They are where they belong. And Barack Obama won't have $1 billion to run next time. He won't be running. So things are going to be a little leaner for them. They have to go out in the market and compete against real people for real jobs. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that.
We're going to take 60 seconds and we'll be right back.
Vote thief. Oh, you want to talk about the smelly old man in the video?
Smelly old man in the video?
The 7 minutes of voter fraud video?
Oh, that, yeah.
Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
He emailed me.
Did he?
Yeah. I read it says, "Dear Mr. Nail, or should I call you Mr. Ed?" And it was a big long thing. I just clicked it off. And then that idiot Horrigan comes on and I said, "Hannah." Somebody
Yep.
responded, "Hannah." Well, that's his wife's blog, the Hannah blog. Because there's him, he's on it. He's on having his picture taken. So Horrigan comes on and says, "Well, I'll have you know that what you said was a lie. Hannah is not Mr. Smith. Hannah is not me." So I put the one with his father passed away, and it's a tribute
Coming
to
back in
Horrigan's
10.
dad.
5, sorry.
Right. I put that one on there, click, and the last name Smith, Hannah Smith. Any other suggestions?
Okay, so we're going to continue our voter fraud discussion. Ed had me put up some content for him earlier in the week. I'm Ed's official content provider.
I can't do it. I'm
He
not smart
provides the
enough.
content and I put it up for him. But it's okay because he writes short and I don't have a lot to look at.
I keep brief.
He posted this video. Oh, go ahead. Just explain it.
Well, I've had this video. It's of Professor Julian Smith, retired professor from UNH. And on November 6th of 2012...
Oh, let me point out, Mr. Timothy Horrigan, listen carefully.
Oh, he's got to be listening, isn't he?
Oh, he may be.
If he's not listening live, he probably will listen to the podcast.
Yes.
Anyway,
This is for you.
he had someone take a video of him parading around on election day in Dartmouth, in Durham, New Hampshire, which is the home of UNH. I was there. I was parading around. People don't know what I look like unless they watch this show, but I don't go to a lot of functions. I don't my picture in the paper stuff. Most people don't know what I look like, so I go to these different places. I was at Hanover on November 6th. I was at UNH on November 6th. November of 2008, I followed the buses around. I collected trophies, Barack Obama's and Biden's faces on these stickers you put in the inside of a car and they stick to the window so that they would know that you were a home, let's say a soccer mom shuttle bus. So he had this video taken and the idiot was out in front asking students, "Oh, you're from Durham?" "Yes, I am." "Do you know where the town hall is?" "Oh, no." "Oh, that could be a problem." He's trying to gloat, sort of the fact that, look at the 3,000 students were registered same day. 3,000. Well, there's 15,000 people live in Durham. There's 12,800 students. Half of those students or more pay out-of-state tuition. They are not residents of the state of New Hampshire. They will have to claim residency. And I'm going to hold them to that, because when I catch them on arrest records after they voted, which is now, if I catch them on the arrest records as giving the New Jersey driver's license or whatever, I'm going to go back and match it, because I have the voter registration from that same day deal. So I'm going to put their name on the internet, and when they do their little social media thing and pull up their name, it's going to see low-life scumbag vote thief. And their mommy and daddy can hire an attorney and try and stop me from doing that if they'd like. But this guy was highly entertaining. He went out and he's got the denim, the corduroy pants and the beard and the wire glasses like a professor would, and he's walking up and down all these students, tickled to death that they've come out to vote for Obama, but really not knowing what he should say or do, or apparently what's legal. Because he said, I hope we're all out here for the right reason. If I said that at a polling station, gone. They'd have me hauled out of there by the AG's office. I'm not supposed to really talk to these individuals. As a poll watcher, they're not supposed to talk to me. But, I walked around, I get a sense of what's going on. I'm checking the lines and seeing who's outside and what. But I posted that on GrokTalk, and it got some response from somebody who's going by the name Hannah. Well, Mr. Smith is associated with Hannah's blog. It's a family member. If you go on and you look at the videos, you'll find Julian Smith in the videos, and I imagine that's who took the video of him parading up and down the group of college students registering to vote same day. And then we have this other. My wife's a flight attendant, and there's people that hang around where they put the food together on a plane. The girls call them galley flies. Right, these guys, get their drink and decide that they'll have their drink up where the girls are putting the food together on the trays. Galley flies. Well, your blog has this galley fly and that galley fly was actually on the ballot on November 6th. So he was rewarded handsomely by 3,000 students coming out to vote and checking his name off because he has, there's a Republican Moonbat. Well, he's a Moonbat, so that's the name they would check off. So here he is, champion of the students, champion of open voting. Why not give your seat to a student? Obviously, there's way more student voters in the town of Durham, and there's a lot more on the voter checklist in Durham than there are galley flies who live in their mother's basement. Okay, so I think it's time that they had some young people represented in these lower ballot names, like Horrigan or something like. You see a name like that, you just don't vote for it. You get a college student to run for that spot in a primary,
An out-of-state college student.
An out-of-state college student would be. Well, we've had that happen before.
We have. That's why I said it.
We actually have a state rep who we think lives in Worcester, Mass, who called me the other day to have some work done, and I'd seen him. I had seen him earlier that day in the legislature.
He doesn't happen to be a Democrat, though.
I was upstairs in the galley. I was upstairs in the galley, and there he is. And then he calls me later on the day, to go to his house and do some work. And I said, well, just mark the trees, take some trees down. He goes, well, I don't know how long it'll take me to get there. When I'm going to be up again. Well, you were there this afternoon, because I saw you. I didn't tell him that, but I saw him in the legislature. Now he's back down in Worcester. I think he divides his time, but we've had out-of-state people get elected to the House, and I don't know about the Senate, but I know we've had Massachusetts residents who get elected to the House. Stephanie C. Sinclair comes to mind. But I think that we should have some, and the treasurer in Hanover.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. I don't even remember her name anymore, but we should
$40 Facebook ad.
We should find somebody who really represents the town of Durham, like a student, to run for some of these lower seats and be a state rep. Put that on their resume instead of just vote thief. They could put vote thief and New Hampshire state representative for 2 years. That would be golden. But the galley flies are out now. You start watching the Seacoast Online, Portsmouth Herald. You'll start to see the pro voter fraud editorial. So April, May, it's going to start getting ugly. These Obama people will be back here. As I look at their LinkedIn pages, and you've seen it, Steve, they start showing up here in April and May for campaigns. So we're going to start seeing these people put together the letters to the editors for other people in New Hampshire to sign. So we'll be tracking those and exposing who those people are. It's been highly entertaining, and I want everybody to meet Alexandra Isabel Parros Caballero. Your name will be up on the internet shortly, and show it to all your friends.
All right. Thank you very much for spending some time with us. Give us this update. My name's Steve McDonald. I am here with Skip Murphy. This is GrokTalk. We'll be right back with Warren Ray, the author of Shadow Patriots, in just a couple of minutes.
So have at her. And the Calyx. It's time we go to the Calyx house with a microphone and a camera and say, are you going to let people from out of state voting from your house again? There's a whole bunch of. There's one up in Meredith I want to do.
Let's do it on the weekend when I can get there. All right, line 2. Mr. Warren.
I gotta get something to drink.
Oops. It helps if I plug it in.
There you go. Power.
Mine too.
You need power.
Audition, please. $18.67. Hi, is this Warren? This is Skip Murphy with Granite Rock and GrokTalk. How are you this morning? Good. I want to say thanks for coming on the show with us. We're in the middle of an intermission. Steve, how much longer?
About a minute.
About a minute. And Steve McDonald will bring you on the show, but listen to the PSAs and the music for just a couple moments, and we'll have you on. Thanks.
So this is one of those post-economic collapse books.
I'm sorry?
It's one of those post-economic collapse books where all kinds of hell goes loose and
Oh,
crazy.
like that. The Patriots.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Except this was like, he talks about the government being corrupt and eventually everything gets crazy and they start recruiting people to fight the Chinese who have invaded America because we've reneged on our debt and all this other stuff. It was kind of neat. I read the first like 14 pages. So
Okay.
It took like 99 cents online.
So it's sort of like what's going on in Venezuela and Ukraine right now.
Mm-hmm.
Grok TV.